Hi everybody, this is Katarina with Libelula's Path. I'm an Akashic record reader, an energy practitioner, and a cosmic channeler, and I'm here to tap into the energy for the rest of October, as well as some cosmic events, including the 1010 portal, and speaking a little bit about the harvest supermoon that just passed around October 7th. And this has been a very charged, very intense time. For those who are subscribed to my channel, welcome back. And those who aren't, if you really enjoy this video, I really appreciate if you comment and like and subscribe. And I really meant to film this before October came, but it has been a very intense time for so many of us, and myself included. The exhaustion has been very real for those of you who are dealing with exhaustion right now, who are having a hard time having the energy for your usual tasks, or just have some limited capacity. For those of you, I do feel there has just been an overall exhaustive layer that everybody has been feeling. Compared to September, October is indeed a better month because there is, I want to say that there's less internal and relational chaos, meaning there will be less relational chaos with people that we are currently in relation with, whether it's business or platonic or romantic. There will be less confrontations this month, as I feel September was quite charged with a lot of energy. The harvest, the autumn harvest, the autumn equinox has made us more sensitive and made us more likely to be to take things on a more personal level. So that has been something that has been very active in the field. And also this month is going to be challenging in the sense that you are growing so rapidly. The collective is growing so rapidly. The people who are watching this, you are growing so rapidly that you may outgrow those that are around you, and it may feel hard to come to terms with that. There may be layers of grief that you may move throughout this month. Grief of who you used to be, the way that you used to see relationships, the way that you used to accept certain treatment from certain people is changing and evolving. So if that's very active in your field, which I feel for many of you will be, you may feel not necessarily any drama, but more so the feeling as if you can't really relate to those around you anymore the way that you used to, making decisions that are in contrary to what other people want from you. And that may shake things up in your life because you were used to a certain way of being, a certain way of living, a certain way of communicating, and that's rapidly shifting, that's rapidly evolving. And because of that, there may be people that are falling away, not because of their decisions, but because of yours, making active decisions to release certain people from your life, to let others just simply fade out of your life, or not making time for certain people because you really can't stand their energy anymore. You can't really tolerate the energetic frequency that they hold, because in order for you to hold that space, you have to lower your energy frequency to meet them there. And these are all things that are said from a place of compassion, meaning that we still may have love for these people in our lives, and it's okay to admit that we've outgrown them, and it's okay to admit that we need space from them, whether it's for some specific amount of time or for a longer amount of time / the rest of our current existence in this plane. So I did want to talk about that because that's very apparent in this October month. Specifically, the month is meant to create limited energy from you so you can understand what is it that your priorities are, what is it that your priorities in life are, and where are you, when you do have limited energy, where are you putting your energy towards, and that will speak volumes about what is meant for you right now and what is meant for you to contribute your energy on. Beyond the energy you are meant to give to yourself and continuing to pour more energy into yourself, what are 3 to 4 things on your list that are your priority? And everything else, the universe, your guides are really going to work with you to push out whatever is not meant for you to contribute energy towards. And they're really going to work with you. And if you have resistance, meaning you have resistance and keep kind of going back to the old you, to the person that would overextend themselves, the person that would make time for people who you feel really don't value you in your life, you are going to receive a lot of resistance during this month, which will create more exhaustion if you don't listen to the relationships that need a step back, that you need to take a step back from. And this also goes for hobbies. This also goes for anything that requires your energy and time. If there's certain things that you are volunteering for or doing for yourself, certain routines, you are going to change those routines. Those routines are going to evolve because there's certain things that aren't working right now, and there's certain things that need to be replaced with. For example, instead of doing one physical activity, maybe you are meant to replace it with more time journaling, more time being in introspection. Maybe you're meant to do something more gentle this month. Also, if you are not doing any physical activity, adding something very gentle, very doable for your body, and that is going to help you deal with the emotional impact that this month has. This month is very emotionally charged, and it's very important to know when is the situation meant to be seen as a battle, and when is the situation meant to be seen as a surrender. Because the more that you see things as a battle, the more that you try to fight something, the more that it takes from you. It takes your energy, it takes your time. And when you are in a place of surrender, you are able to allow the universe to offer you gifts that you have been wanting, that are going to allow you to rest more. And that is the overall theme, is finding rest. We are soon approaching winter, which is a hibernation season. The bear is a good example of understanding when to be charged and plugged in and when to take rest. And we are still in the fall, and we are in the early months of fall, so we have to understand how to slow down, how to create a more intentional day, a more intentional week, a more intentional existence. And for those of you, and many of us, we don't always feel we have the luxury to slow down. But when you can be in quote unquote rebellion against this idea that you don't have the ability or time to have rest, that is when you tell the universe, no, I'm no longer going to be in this cycle anymore. The cycle of survival, this cycle of always giving and rarely receiving, this cycle of not prioritizing what I want, and then 5 years down the line we feel as if we're in the same place we were yesterday, or when we were a lot younger. When we tell ourselves, this is not what I accept anymore from my life, I need time, I need rest, that is when you tell the universe that I am changing, I am evolving, and I don't want the same situations that have been given to me, these emergency situations, these situations of confrontation, these situations that make no room for me, that make no room for my growth. That is when you evolve, and that is when you grow. But it takes time, and change also takes rebellion from the soul. The soul needs to rebel against what the ego has normalized. And when the soul rebels against what the ego has normalized, you will feel exhaustion, you will feel tiredness, you will feel a bit of resistance, because your ego wants you not to change, doesn't want you to evolve. And it's just coming from a place, the ego is coming from a misunderstood place of love. The ego doesn't have healthy love for us. The ego wants to lock us up and almost freeze us in time so we can just never get hurt. We can never feel any kind of pain. But through the growing pains, we flourish. And through the growing pains, we learn how to understand that sometimes something that's really painful is something that is true medicine for us, true medicine for our souls, true medicine for the change in our environment. And once we have accepted, the next step is once we have accepted that we have changed, which sometimes we can change and it can take us years to accept that change, months, weeks. And the faster we accept that change, although the acceptance of the change is just as inviting of a lesson as the change itself, we then can understand that we are powerful creatures, we are powerful beings. I'm wearing a lot of orange today because there is symbolism in colors, there is symbolism in what the colors are. And it's interesting that fall is always associated with oranges due to the pumpkins, due to the changing of the leaves, due to the seasonal holidays. And orange deeply connects with the sacral connecting to the sacred power, the sacred creativity, the sacred expansion that we are invited into throughout this month. October is a very sacral month, a month that we are dancing in our strength. We are shown our strength, and we are shown that we can and are capable of change. We are capable of expansion, and highlighting again that there will be relationships and opportunities that will fall away, but this is not happening to you, it's happening for you. This is meant for you to understand who isn't meant for you, what isn't meant for you. And when we learn what sacred trust is, when we learn how to trust the universe, we liberate ourselves from fear. We liberate ourselves from feeling unsafe in our body, because then we learn how to unconditionally feel safe no matter the circumstances. The only one who can make you feel safe is you. And when you understand that and understand that nobody can do that for you, you own your power, you own your liberation. And liberation is also such a large word that stands out for October. Is how can I feel more liberated? And sometimes what makes us feel more liberated makes us feel like we're being selfish. I'm selfish because I didn't pick up the phone call that I really didn't have the capacity to pick up that day. I feel selfish because I couldn't do that thing for that person. I feel selfish because for the first time in my life, I'm choosing myself. Selfishness is a tactic of fear, is a fear tactic that we use to tell ourselves that we cannot prioritize our soul. We cannot prioritize what we want. And when we use the idea of selfishness to attack what is it that we truly are meant for, we then let fear be in control. So then the sacredness of what is it that we are meant for, that is when true clarity comes in. And When we choose liberation, liberation will shake things up. Choosing our liberation can point out in somebody's life that they themselves don't feel liberated. They themselves feel like they're in control, that their ego is in control, that the place of centeredness does not speak, does not have room in their life. And so when you understand that liberation is a choice, and often it's a choice that we make out of need for something to change, we may feel as if we're letting others down. We may feel as if we're letting the old paradigm of ourselves down. But then true joy emerges from the hard decisions that we have to make in order to choose our liberation first. Those are the topics of the October energy update. And for the 1010 portal, the 1010 portal is catalyzing the sense of the question, how much do I love myself? How much do I truly love myself? Because when you truly love yourself, you are gracious with yourself. You are forgiving with yourself. You become less fearful of choosing what is right for you. And you begin to stop needing validation from others to make the choice that is best for you. You also leave this idea that you are meant for someone else, but instead you are meant for yourself. The most important, I've said this multiple times in other videos, the most important relationship you have is the relationship with yourself. And when you when you start to treat it yourself as somebody that you truly and unconditionally love, you show yourself that anything that you do, any situation you are in, you have your stack. You are your biggest supporter. And the 1010 portal is about realizing that you truly don't need anyone else in your path in order to grow. That the person that's going to help you change is you. You don't need an external guide. You don't need a guru. You don't need this tool or that tool. These are great. These things that I'm mentioning are great supplements to your journey. And the main, if we were to see a car, you are the engine. You are the engine that runs your life. You are the engine that can push yourself thousands of miles. And these other parts, community is so sacred and so important, but the only one who is going to help you feel joyful, that is going to bring in joy, is you. You can ask everybody for advice, but you will know your answer. You will know what is best for you. And when you understand that you are the medicine, then things truly change, because the ownership you take over your life is like taking a first breath for the first time in your life. Because now you don't have to check in with this person, this other person. You don't have to wait until somebody says you are healed enough to do something. Instead, you listen to yourself, and this will be a journey in itself, because you may have old patterns that aren't best for you. But once you rely on yourself, you then can let those patterns play out, and then you can release them and become in a much more healthy and balanced relationship with yourself. But it has to first take understanding that you have yourself, that you must rely on yourself. And that is the true medicine of the 1010 portal. The October 21st new moon is right when the moon conjuncts with Venus. And Venus has so much to do with our relational side, the side of us that can be romantic, that can indulge, that can treat ourselves with love. And around that time, I really recommend you make yourself do something that makes yourself feel like you are putting yourself first. Reminds your soul that you are in control of your future. That you, when I say control, I mean not us really truly having control, because the universe will always offer us events that won't feel as if we are in control, but instead we have ownership of the direction of our life. And the October 21st new moon is understanding and truly embodying, what does liberation look like? Is it something external? Maybe it's cutting your hair or changing your clothes or changing something in your diet per se. Or maybe liberation, and true liberation is what comes from within, but making decisions that are controversial in your life, that may be controversial in your family, controversial in your friend group, because you are no longer the sheep, but instead you are the shepherd. You are the shepherd of your life, and you are no longer the follower, but the leader. And that is the medicine of the new moon on October 21st, that is in conjunction with that planetary alignment of the moon and Venus. And regarding anything to add into your health for this time, there isn't anything that they suggest. When I say they, I mean the universe, the Akashic records, the cosmic guides. There's no urge to add anything to your supplements, to your food. And I do see it would be really beneficial to start working on your fascia. And by doing that, you can get a massage, you can buy a body roller and start rolling out the muscles. You can start doing something relatively regularly that moves your body, that moves the fascia. Something about energy being stuck in the body is very important this month, and understanding what is it that wants to be communicated through body pains or through body aches or through tiredness, or maybe through the lack of all of those things. If you don't have any of those aches and pains, that in itself may be indicating that you're making so much progress and you're working on your myofascia, all of the meridians. So working on your fascia this month, working on releasing anything that is stuck in your body, something simple as even moving your hips, because of how much we store in our hips, and even our shoulders, shoulder rolls, and our ankles. Ankles are a big point of connection to our boundaries, connection to our sense of identity. So these are the aspects that will be very beneficial for this October month. And the last thing I want to mention are tools, crystal tools that you can use. For crystals, I'm really seeing a lot of red crystals. For example, for those who are familiar with crocoite's coming in quite heavily throughout this month. Working with just the energy of crocoite, you don't have to necessarily have it in your personal collection. In terms of another redstone, carnelian would be really good to help you release any blockages, anything ancestrally that wants to be released from your ancestral lines. And sunstone, working with sunstone to bring more vitality, energy, and confidence in making the best decisions for you. So crocoite, sunstone, and carnelian are really beautiful crystals to work with. Their energy is really beautiful to work with during this October month. And also, as I'm closing up, I do recommend, which many of you probably have already done so because of the seasonal crops. Anything that's orange like squash or pumpkin would be really great to add to your diet. They weren't really showing me anything to add to your diet, but adding just orange foods, particularly like a squash or a pumpkin. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this October update, the portal update, as well as the new moon. And I'm wishing you rest, rejuvenation, and lots of love. Until next time, thank you.